Welcome to Canada's podcast.
Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Calgary's podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. Joining me today is Gennaro Silvestri, President and CEO of APE Canada and TAG Intercontinental. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mario. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. And let's start, Gennaro, by maybe explaining what the two companies are and what you do.
Absolutely. So we have two companies, like you mentioned. Our first one is APE Canada. So APE Canada is the proud representatives to North America for Piaggio APE, the famous three-wheel scooters from Italy, that we've seen everywhere and all over Europe, little worker bees. Well, actually, the word APE means bee in Italian, so it's very appropriate. We are actually just in the process of finalizing our electric APEs, which are going to Transport Canada to become street legal. So that's quite amazing. And then our other company is TAG Intercontinental. And TAG Intercontinental, our catchphrase is purveyor of cool things. So what we do in that is we have robots, we have e-mobility. So we have a really high-end, beautiful handmade carbon e-bike. We have a folding e-bike. And we're also branching out to soon have motorcycles coming in the fall as well. So pretty exciting times.
So tell me, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the APE.
Okay.
What kind of use, and again, you're based in Calgary, but if you could explain to people like your reach is across the country, right, for these products, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are based in Calgary, and actually our reach is North America. Calgary's our hub and probably one of our smallest markets, unfortunately. But as far as uses, anything and everything. In 2014 in Europe, this whole little mini food truck craze started, and people were taking the APE pickup trucks and converting them into little food trucks. What we've seen a lot of and has been really popular in North America is Prosecco carts. They're everywhere. So there's different types of tap carts. We have one client here in Calgary that we did a unit for, and hers is called Suds and Sodas. And what she does is she does adult floats. So can you imagine a root beer bourbon float? Oh my God, heaven on earth. They have one with raspberry beer and vanilla ice cream.
Ooh.
Heavenly, absolutely delightful. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that can be done. And you know what? They're handy even just to have on an acreage or, a campground. If you can believe it, that little truck can actually carry 1,000 pounds, which is pretty impressive for something so small. And it's a little 335cc diesel engine. And, hopefully soon we're going to be releasing our electrics, which are even more powerful. And the beauty of those is they're electric. So zero emissions and green.
So, and we have this kind of romantic idea and perception of the APEs, right? In Rome, going through the tight, little places, right up there with the Vespas, right? When you think about mobility in Italy, Vespa and the APE, right?
Absolutely. And it's Piaggio. It's the same company.
Yeah.
And really, if you go back in genealogy, the Vespa is what originally started the APE. In 1947, when Italy was coming out of the Second World War, there wasn't a lot of money. And, Mr. Piaggio, for lack of a better name, had a brilliant idea and said, hey, how can we change these? So what he did is he actually converted, at that time, it was the front to be cargo. And then it evolved into the back. And then it stayed and it turned into the APE. So good on you. I mean, it's something that's lasted a long time and is going to keep moving forward, if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah. So tell me, when's the first time you ever drove one?
Oh, I think I was 7 years old with my grandfather in Italy. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I thought it was really cool. And I hate to say it, but I think somewhere in my psyche, that little romantic moment of being, with my grandfather and, he had his little handicap hat on and we drove around and, we picked up, we went to the market, we got fish, and then we went and got bread from my grandmother and unloaded everything. It was amazing. And, I could still hear the cries. And, being a young man in Italy, I didn't want to wake up early, but at 6 o'clock in the morning, those guys would be going down the street selling fresh tomatoes, fresh fish, fresh fruit. And it's funny, even to this day, there's a little hole on the top of the ape that's for your speaker.
Oh,
So, and they were blasting, pomodori freschi, pesci freschi. So you can imagine the dismay of a young man going, I want to sleep. Why is this guy selling this fresh stuff in the morning?
yeah.
But we're hoping that something like that comes back to Canada, because you know what? We need a little romance in our lives, and a little nostalgia is always good. It's good for the soul.
Yeah, it is good for the soul. Now, I visited your place there a couple of times, and what I was really intrigued by was the little robot, right? And that you guys sell, the Vita. Can you talk a little bit about that and tell me how it works?
So through an initiative with Piaggio, there's a company in Boston called Fast Forward. So Piaggio was the largest shareholder of the company, so therefore it's Piaggio Fast Forward. So we were able to connect with that through our Ape connection. And what it is Vita is a little carry-all robot. So they have one that carries 50 pounds, and then they have another one that carries 20 pounds. And it's amazing. It's this little ball that it has LiDAR and vision sensors. You touch the button, and it follows your legs. And the whole premise around it is a gita in Italian is a little trip. So it's, what could you do if you had someone carry your stuff? You would take a little gita. And funny enough, the large gita, a case of wine fits perfectly inside. So, there's some Italian ingenuity there for sure. And for North America, I'm sure I could put a couple flats of beer in there as well.
So that too is available across North America.
Absolutely, yeah. For that, we are the Canadian representatives because it is based out of the United States. We have our counterparts there who do that. But yeah, it is available. And you know what? It's been interesting. It's a pricey little unit. It is a robot at the end of the day. But man, to see people's faces light up is amazing. My wife takes it to the grocery store, and what started out as getting one thing ends up 2 hours later. And it's like, okay, well, I'm on this Instagram, I'm on this TikTok, I'm on this website. So it's always kind of funny to see how people react.
Well, that's a thing, right? Which is kind of interesting with these cool products, right? Is whether it's the robot or whether it's the little truck, you call them the Instagrammable moments in this day and age, right?
Exactly. So I just got to figure out how to convert that into dollars and cents.
Let's talk a little bit about yourself, Gennaro, and being an entrepreneur. First of all, how long ago did you get into doing this?
So we're coming up to about 2.5 years now with Ape. And I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur. For many years, I had a restaurant in Inglewood. Before that, I did various forms of sales. I was in the diamond industry. I've always been passionate about food. I'm a Red Seal chef by trade. So it's always been in there. And you know what? Once you're an entrepreneur, you're always an entrepreneur. And, the definition of an entrepreneur is just a really lousy employee. So, and the reality is it's fun. And you know what? You get to carve out your own days. You get to carve out your own hours. I mean, right now it's 24/7. Yeah. But you know what? I mean, that's the sacrifices you make. So somewhere along the way that you're going to have an opportunity to say, hey, I did that, or we did that, yeah. and that's exciting.
What have been the toughest challenges for you to be an entrepreneur?
Well, right now, as far as the current projects that we're doing, the biggest challenge, that I'll be honest, is logistics and trying to develop a market on a limited budget. We all know that marketing, the old saying is, what's the difference between a good idea and a bad idea? Marketing, right? Yeah. And we've had some discussions about how to do that cost effectively and where we can go and things. And it is a challenge, but more importantly, logistics, because we're bringing everything from overseas, and this whole thing started through the pandemic. So yeah. Everyone was focused on sending in PPE, and the rates were going up and up and up and up and up. Unfortunately, now the shipping lanes have gotten a little better, but the rates are still up, 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 up. Yeah. Shipping a container is very expensive. Now that we're moving into the electrics and the e-mobility stuff, it gets even more expensive because now we're starting to deal with lithium batteries and dangerous goods.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's your advice that you would give to people that wanted to be or want to be an entrepreneur?
You know what? I think if you can find something that you're passionate about, it's amazing how that can translate through everything you do. And when I say translate in everything you do, it translates in your marketing. It translates in the experience. If I didn't think apples were cool, I couldn't get you excited about them,
Yeah.
right? And it's amazing when you start breaking things down like that and looking at what excites me. And you might have funny things that excite you. It might be a part of your hobby that excites you. It might be, it could be anything. But I mean, you need to have that genuine excitement about what you're doing, because you can't fake that, and that transfers through in everything you do, whether you're religious, whether you're community minded, whether you're just a workaholic, there's a passion there, and then that needs to be relayed through everything you do, and kudos to you. I see that in everything you do. So my compliments.
Well, thank you. It's going to be a weird question, but being Italian, how does that translate into being a businessman?
Okay, it is a weird. You know what? It kind of goes back to exactly what we said before. There's an old saying I heard a long time ago: is Italians do everything passionately, love and hate.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's been good. I mean, for us, especially with the products that we deal with, they're almost exclusively from Italy.
Yeah.
So speaking the language, and also it's, understanding that whole culture and mindset, of, adomani, like tomorrow. You really got to massage it. I mean, there's people that have tried to bring the apes in the past and they gave up because they weren't, I guess, for lack of a better term, embracing that whole Italian mentality. It was once said to me a long time ago that Italians will only export what they don't want. So you kind of have to get them to understand why they should export. And it can be challenging, but it's also rewarding. I mean, we've been blessed and, through some of the connections with you as well, Mario, that we've been able to connect with some other, Italian businessmen. And it's amazing. You start getting that drive and everybody sees that passion. Italian engineers, they're some of the most revered in the world because they're the only engineers that go into the business with passion. Engineers in North America go into it to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Europeans go into it because they want to make it better. And they want to. So I think being Italian has been a blessing because it's that passion that really shines through in everything we do.
You know what? I'm kind of curious, going back to the ape for a second, the reactions you get from the older Italian people when they see one of these.
Oh my God. You know what? It literally melts your heart. We did an event up in Edmonton for the Italian Center for their grand opening. And I still remember vividly this little old Italian man with a cane walked up and he put his hand on the ape and he's like, my father and I used to run this in Campania. And he was in his late 80s. And literally there's a little tear going down his eye because it literally brought him back to when he was a little boy. It's that passion, and I'm even telling you about this and I'm getting goosebumps.
Me too.
Mario, it's insane. The passion and it just brings them back to a spot where they were happy, and things didn't matter. Back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, they didn't have a lot of money, but they didn't care either.
Yeah.
It was about being with your family, enjoying a glass of wine, and time together, a gelato. And that, to me, those images are so vivid.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you mentioned being a chef as well. Can you talk a little bit about that? What got you into being a chef? And
you know what? It's mom and dad. I mean, it's our culture. I mean, there was never a moment in our house, I don't remember until I was in my late teens ever going to a restaurant because I drove myself.
Yeah.
My dad was, hamburger. I don't want a hamburger. Your mama make a better food. No hamburger. And it's just that love for food and it's just the love for freshness. And, keep going back to that. It's all about the love, right? And, the family table is amazing. And, you had birthday parties and you had every aunt and uncle and cousin, and it was always in the basement. And the kids would run up to the basement window and say, oh, who's here? Who's here? Right? And you know what? That just carries over into everything you do, and it just, as you know, that stuff oozes out of your pores. You can't deny it.
No, that's true. So, hey, why don't you take one of those apes and set up a little moving Italian restaurant?
Oh my God. Honestly, we're so busy, Mario. I'd love to. Hey, maybe that's a job for you. You have some time on your hands, right?
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
I think Mario's has a nice ring to it. It could be anything.
Not East Side Mario's, West Side Mario's.
There you go, West Side Mario's. North American Mario's.
Okay. So what got you to make that transition from being a chef to doing what you're doing now?
You know what? It's all about Italian culture and Italian product and bringing that experience here. I think that's truly what it was. I mean, the Italian passion is in everything we do. So, you know, the ape back in Italy when I was young and we went, it would be bringing you fresh food. Yeah. You know, it's delivering fresh produce. It's bringing you new and exciting things, and it in a really offbeat sort of way. It kind of is an extension of all that. It's, you know, an alternative. It's bringing a cost-effective means of transportation. It's, you know, how do we bring that little bit of paradise back? You know, whether it's through your food, your culture, you know, even your T-shirts, you know, and everything. It's all about driving that experience back.
Yeah. Is there any other cool products out there that you'd like to bring to North America?
Well, one of the things that we're just finalizing everything because they're going through the homologation process in Italy is we're going to be bringing an electric motorcycle. Yeah. Handmade in Italy, multitude of colors, all carbon fiber, 0 to 100 in 4 seconds.
Oh,
like that's a little rocket ship. So
I think people in my family would forbid me to have one of those.
Well, let's just say I got a guy. We can help you out.
No kidding. And all right, well, super, Gennaro. That was super. I appreciate your time and taking some time here to explain what you guys do there.
Thank you so much, Mario, for having me. You have an amazing day, sir.
You too. That was Gennaro Silvestri, President and CEO of Ape Canada and Tag Intercontinental. I'm Mario Tanaguzzi with Calgary's podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us today.